Welcome back everybody to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So before we get started, please smash that like button, and 100 plus likes on this video would be greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, live trading, and all kinds of setups, definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. And now let's get right into it, guys. On Apple stock, it's up 1%, and Apple was up even more than 2%, all the way up to 173.70. But we did not get a chance to close this gap at 173.79 here on Apple. Came back, huge rejection at 173, and now trading above 170 and holding that as a support into closing. So you're line in the sand here on Apple, 170, and keep that in mind, Apple is extremely oversold. We're just getting started, and Apple can still go up even more. And finally, we're seeing a rotation here in this market between mega caps, money coming out from semis, especially Nvidia stock, and going into Apple, Google, and also Tesla. And we could see that continuation going into next week. We also have CPI coming out Tuesday morning, 8:30 a.m. So that's going to cause lots of volatility in the market. And Nvidia stock, right after closing on Friday, I think it's down another 3%. So we will talk about Nvidia in a minute, but Apple here, guys, definitely extremely oversold. And yes, we could see a bounce back up to the upside. As long as 170 support can hold going into Monday morning, you're going to see another attempt back up to close this gap, 173.79. And soon as Apple can hold 173, you're going to see more upside all the way up to possibly 177.38 to close this gap and possibly break out of this downtrend on this daily chart. Now, key level to watch, 170, and below that, lower Bollinger Band, which is sitting at 168, and then this critical support down here, 166. And here's my X account, and if you guys are on there, definitely give me a follow. And there is no subscription, nothing you gotta go through, and you can always ask me a question right here on X. Now, here's some fantastic trades from today, and some of them are swing trades, and I'm going to share this play with you guys right here on Meta. So this is where I actually got in yesterday. It was at 517, getting some puts. You can see right here 465, and this thing gave away 4% from my entry. It was massive right here. Took some profit. You can see right here, selling, keeping half position right here, and selling for a nice profit. This was a fantastic swing trade, and I was actually willing to hold even longer, but you can see big drop today. Again pumped up this morning, but gave away all the gains, and now it's down on the day. Now here's the biggest one, guys, and that is why, yes, you can play Nvidia stock, but do not go and buy something like, more in the money calls. Friday is the best time to play this, and I got this wrong. Ran up to 100%. It was actually 1000%, but ran up to 2000%. And I'm going to show you guys. I got in a bit early right here, and then this thing pumped. Actually came back right here. I took a bit of a profit right here. I think it was 50%, and then my position was underwater for just a couple of minutes, and then you can see I actually held on. And then massive drop all the way down here. And this picture I took right here, after that, this thing dropped even more. So it actually went over 2000%. Massive trade on Nvidia stock. Now, some of the trades I'm not even sharing. And there is so many, I cannot even share all the trades right here on X. Here's another one. MSTR, and I actually called it around 10:26 a.m. getting some 1300 puts, 8500 a piece for next week, and it was right here on this green candle. And just after 5 minutes, look at this drop all the way down here from 8500 got up to 11,000. Now this is not 1100, 11,000, and from there, guys, it was dropping even more. I actually kept one runner, and that runner got up to 13,000, which was massive. Now, all these trade ideas, and especially if you guys are serious about trading and you want to make money, you want to learn, and you want to be a disciplined trader, definitely it's worth every penny. Check out my Patreon, and that link will be down below in the description. On AMD, it's down 1.89%, and look at the move here on AMD. 215, forget about that, all the way up to another fresh new all-time high, 227.30. It was getting way too far overextended to the upside. We saw immediate pullback all the way down to 205, and if you look at my screen, we actually saw really high volume selling on AMD on Friday. So yes, that can continue going into next week on Monday. So here on AMD, guys, watch 205 as strong support after filling this gap, and below that you're going to see a dump off down to 200, and then this gap 193. AMD will also have support at 190, 141, and then 184 to the upside. As long as AMD can hold above, I would say right here 205, yes, we could see another move back up to the upside, possibly going back up to 215, and once we get that breakout over 215, then maybe going even higher. But as of right now, with high volume selling on Friday, and look at this candle right here, huge rejection. So yes, we could see some continuation to the downside, and right after closing you can see this thing is down another 1.13%. so if this move actually continues, AMD might be coming down and closing all these gaps at least down here, and possibly retest this range breakout, which is at 184, and that can happen with that CPI next week. On Microsoft, it's down 0.71%, and Microsoft getting a massive rejection at 410 and now trading at 406.22 at the closing. So going into Monday morning, watch your key support here on Microsoft will be down here, and that is around 400. But if that gives up, you're going to see significant selling on Microsoft all the way down to 394, and then this gap 390. Now, as long as Microsoft can stay above 400, yes, we could see a push back up to the upside, and in that case, watch out for a breakout above 410, and soon as that happens, we could see more upside on Microsoft, possibly up to 413. On Meta, it's down over 1%, and you guys saw that fantastic play on Meta, shorting pretty much at the top and locking in some profit on Friday. Now, if you look at my screen, we got up to a fresh new all-time high here on Meta on Friday, 523.57, and then from there, gave away all the gains, came back to where? Rising 5-day moving average, which is sitting at 500, all the way down to 499.35. We got a bounce off of that level, and now it's trading above 504, holding that as a support into closing. So that's gonna be your line in the sand going into tomorrow's session, 504, and below that 500, and then 490, all the way down to rising 20-day moving average 484. Now to the upside, as long as Meta can stay above 500, you're going to see continuation to the upside, and in that case, watch out for the resistance to break right here at 520, and once we get above 520 and Meta can hold right here, then we can talk about more upside on Meta. But let me show you guys another thing right here on Meta. It's getting really frothy and overextended, especially on this weekly time frame. I mean, look at this, guys, RSI at 86.84, so that is not healthy, and that is why we could see a big pullback on Meta also. And keep that in mind, this weekly candle right here, we got a doji indecision candle, so yes, we could see a big pullback here on Meta. It's just a matter of time, but that does not mean that you go and short Meta and buy weekly puts, because it can actually get toasted if you're not buying any time, just like we did. But we had plenty of time on Meta, and that is why we got that, over $20 move to the downside on those puts, and still holding runners, and I think they can go up even more if this thing actually gets down to 490. On Tesla, stock is down 1.85%, so Tesla actually had a really nice morning on Friday. We got this run up all the way up to 180 to 73, but into closing, market sold off, and guess what? Tesla broke under 180 and now barely holding 175, 176 as a support into closing. So going into tomorrow morning, guys, on Tesla, this is gonna be your line in the sand right here between 175 and 176. But I think Tesla gives up that support. You're going to see a bigger dump off on Tesla before going higher all the way down to this gap 162.95. Now to the upside, we need to get that breakout soon as possible on Tesla for this downtrend to break, and possibly we could see some money rotating back into Tesla. And how do we get that? Tesla needs to break and hold 180, and soon as that happens, you're going to see a move up to this gap 186.72, and then we will also have resistance at 191.89, 20-day moving average right here, this white line 194, and then 200. Until then, watch Tesla right here, especially under 180. 176, that's gonna be key level to watch, and once we get that breakout over 180, then we can talk about this gap on top 186.72. so that should be on your radar tomorrow. Tesla above 180, more upside. Below 180, more downside, possibly down to that gap 162.95. On Nvidia, stock is down 5.5%, and just after closing on Friday, down another 2.77%, and now trading at 851. And look at this big bearish engulfing candle with some really high volume selling on Friday, and that is the concern for this market going into this week, and also with that CPI coming out on Tuesday morning. So here on Nvidia, guys, going into tomorrow's session, if this thing actually opens here at 851, watch out, there is a support right here at 840, and below that we have this gap 823, and that's gonna be a significant drop within just 2 days on Nvidia stock if this thing comes all the way down to this gap 823. We also have support on Nvidia stock at 800. Now to the upside, looks like it was closing right here just under 880, rising 5-day moving average, so that's gonna be a resistance to watch to the upside. And Nvidia can break 880, then watch out for a move back up to 898 to 900, and then 922 right up here, and that's gonna be the upside target on Nvidia. But with this kind of candle, I'm not buying any dips on Nvidia stock. It does not matter if this thing goes right back up to 1000. I'm not interested buying Nvidia dips anywhere here unless we get a significant pullback all the way down to, I would say, at least 688 right here to close this massive gap from that earnings. On Google, stock it's up 0.78%, so Google got up to 139 almost. And I said it before, guys, do not count Google out. Yes, we got rejection right here off of this 13-day moving average 138.59, and now trading above 135 once again, and also above 5-day moving average 134.41. So your line in the sand right here on Google will be right down here, guys, 135. Below that, definitely you're going to see a flush all the way down to 130, and then this gap 127.74 until Google actually breaks out of this downtrend. And I said the same thing before, it needs to get above 140 at least. And soon as that happens, Google gone. You're going to see more upside all the way up to 143.38, 144.79 to close this gap on top, and then we can possibly talk about all these gaps right here, 148 and 152.78 also on Google. Now to the downside, as long as Google can hold right here 135, that's gonna be key level to watch if you're looking to buy the dip. But as soon as Google stock actually gives up 135, then watch out, guys. There might be more downside in the short term because we still have this downtrend on Google stock, and so far it's not out of the woods. On Amazon, stock is down 0.83% and into closing, holding right here between 175 and 176. And if you look at my screen, rising 13-day moving average now sitting close to 175. So that's gonna be your line in the sand going into tomorrow morning as a support, and just below that a critical support 173, and then this gap 170.23. To the upside, as long as Amazon can hold right here between 175 to 176, watch out for a move all the way up to 180. So Netflix also going down 0.61%, but into closing holding 604 right here as a support. So that's going to be a key level to watch going into tomorrow's session here on Netflix, 604, and below that watch out for a dump off down to 600, and then 588. We also have this gap down here, 575.78. Now to the upside, as long as I would say Netflix can stay above 600 to 604, yes, we could see some continuation back up to 630 and possibly even higher. But so far, guys, I mean, this thing also on a big monstrous run to the upside with no pullback, nothing. This was the bottom right here. And from this bottom, where is the pullback? I mean, yes, we got some mini pullbacks, but nothing significantly. I mean, look at this insane move all the way up to 624.42, a fresh new 52-week high. Where is the pullback? Well, I don't call these pullbacks right here. These are just mini pullbacks, and then within just 2-3 days going back up. So here on Netflix, we can get that, and definitely we could see more downside. This thing breaking below 588. That's gonna be a warning to watch Netflix for more downside, possibly down to this gap. And then this gap, we also have this massive gap all the way down here from that earnings we had just a couple months ago.